Hey, what's happening, everybody? How's it going, you beautiful people? Did you guys see Firestarter? I hope not, because I want the best for my friends. So, Firestarter is the newest film adaptation of a Stephen King novel. It was a film adaptation in 1984, I think. Didn't do too well. So, they're like, okay, well, let's give this another shot. This one didn't do too well. So, originally, like, going back a couple months ago or whenever I saw this atrocity of a trailer, I was like,
liar, liar, pants on fire.
I'm not seeing this. Yeah, I'm not gonna see this. I'm not seeing this, okay? My therapist told me to work on some healthy habits. But then I catch a couple things about this film. Not just the Zac Efron dad role, which was definitely a hook. But this is actually directed from the guy that did The Vigil, Keith Thomas, which I wasn't huge on The Vigil, but I did watch it. I did think that it was, a good enough horror film. It was very experimental, very original, very different, and had some scares. So, I didn't hate it. I thought it was fine. So I was like, okay. That was like his first, I think, big directorial effort. So this is his second, and I know this film has been in development hell. It's gone from director to director to director, and I was like, okay, well, maybe it fell into the hands of a sweet angel who can actually give it the love and care it deserves, and this thing can grow up and be raised into a beautiful blossom. No! No. And it's also worth mentioning that this is a score from the man himself, John Carpenter, as well as his son. And you hear the Halloween tunes throughout this movie. Just close your eyes and tell me what movie you're watching. But yes, let's get into Firestarter, everybody. So Firestarter centers on a little girl named Charlie. She's got these telekinetic powers. She can move shit with her head, her mind. She can, make things burst into flames on cue. Her parents also have these superpowers. Zac Efron's got this thing where he cracks his neck all macho, and then he starts bleeding from his eyes, and he can hypnotize people and control them and make them think that they're somewhere else when they're not. He does this mind control bit, and I'm just like, I really would not like to be under the control of Zac Efron. That just sounds hellish. That sounds like a horror movie all in itself. But yeah, basically this is a family with each of their own powers. The girl's got this ability to start fires with her mind, and basically because she's a kid, she's gonna use it to bad advantages. It's that typical setup where this girl's got this thing going on, and shows her at school, and all these little piece of shit kids are calling her freak and making fun of her, and then it's triggered when she has a certain sense of emotion, and so when she gets angry or she gets too upset or whatever, fires get started. So she uses it to advantages that are not the best, and basically it gets to the point where this agency is after her to either contain her because of her powers, and they're like, well, we want to learn about her, she's the one that we're missing, which isn't really detailed enough, so we don't know too much about that, or they're just like, well, let's just exterminate her because she's a fucking serial arsonist. So basically her and her family are on the run from this agency that's trying to contain this little girl. And the first thing I'm going to say is that this film starts off pretty much immediately. We're talking I shit you not, hear me out. We're talking after the opening credits, after we get, hey, Zac Efron, starring Zac Efron, scored by John Carpenter. Hey, cool. Okay, let's get this movie started. We're talking the next fucking scene. Zac Efron's doing this therapist bullshit, this hypnotherapist where he's talking to this woman, and she's all like, oh, I don't know if I can get help, blah, blah, blah. And he's all like, I'll tell you what. I'll bet you $100 that I can make you feel great by the end of this therapy session. And then shows him crack his neck, and his eyes get all dilated, his nose starts bleeding. And then she's like, I feel really good. And I'm just like, so is he a therapist or not? What is this? What is this? Why? Hi, Zac. So yeah, there's definitely already issues in the writing, literally scene one. It's one of those films where right after the opening credits, you feel like you're 20 or 30 minutes into the movie already. which is an even bigger issue considering that this is almost a fucking 2-hour film. And throughout the film, you know, Zac Efron's like, he plays this kind of role of like this dumbass typical father who doesn't know shit about the female anatomy, so he's like always cracking these like shitty one-liners where like, you know, even though he has superpowers of his own, and like we literally see the fucking baby burst into fucking flames in the opening shot, and he ran in there and like put out the fire right next to her crib with her still fucking in it. Obviously he knows about her history, and whenever, and like, you know, she'll go up to him and she'll be like, Dad, I feel weird, like there's something wrong with my body, it's happening again. And he's like, maybe you should talk to your mom about that. And I'm just like, maybe you should get the fire extinguisher, Zach. And then like it gets to the point where like he will like, there's a scene where he like literally looks dead into the fucking frame, and he's like, is it her period? And I'm just like, this is why the last thing you did that was notable was Neighbors 2. And yeah, you know, just with the film overall, just everything is very abrupt. There's no real build-up. There's a ton of characters that we barely know that just kind of come in and out of the frame in really bizarre scenes to bizarre limits. Just none of this movie really worked. And, you know, the writing, again, especially the characters, is just wrong. The pacing of the film is pretty fucked. And, yeah, this kind of felt like a film that could have released in January. I mean, the film looked nice. I will give it that. The film looked pretty nice, but that's really about it. I just feel like for a movie like this, like a good fleshed out background would have been necessary. I mean, look at fucking Carrie. Look at fucking Carrie. Come on. Which, isn't that also a Stephen King film? Why didn't you just stick with Carrie, Stephen? Just stick with Carrie. But yes, again, I feel like the only real redeeming quality of this movie is that it didn't look like shit visually, but everything else was basically just a cat on fire. And I'm mentioning that because, okay, so really quickly, I have to mention this scene. Oh my god. So there's this one scene where, like, you know, the little girl, Charlie, she's, like, trying to pet this cat, and it fucking scratches her, and she fucking burns this fucking kitty to a crisp. Yeah. And then Zac Efron comes up, and he's all like, oh no, what happened? I'm like, what do you think happened, Dad? And then, you know, she's all like, oh, I just tried to, you know, pet it, and it scratched me. And he's like, well, oh, darn. Maybe you should put it out of its misery. And then she's like, what do I do? And he's like, more fire. So she like burns this like burning cat that's like up in flames even more, like turns it up like 300 degrees, and then this thing turns to a fucking to a crisp. And Zac Efron's like, you did the right thing. I'm like, you're fucking stupid. You're stupid. But yeah, guys, that's really all I got to say about Firestarter. It looked fine. Like, I think that Keith Thomas, even after this shit, I still think that he's a decent director. But this movie, it just, it didn't need to happen the first time. It didn't need to happen the second time. I don't even know if the novel needed to happen. Again, Carrie's just the shit, dude. I'm just gonna watch Carrie. Overall, guys, I didn't entirely hate this film. I had some fun with the cringe. And again, it looked nice, but other than that, yeah, I wouldn't even watch this on Peacock, fellas. I'm gonna give Firestarter 2022 a 3 out of 10. So yes, guys, that is gonna do it for my Firestarter review. I'm not gonna ask what you guys thought of this movie because I know that you guys haven't seen it, and hopefully you won't. So yes, guys, that is gonna do it for this review. Oh my god. Okay, so really quickly, I saw this movie last night at like midnight, and then when I got home at like, I don't know, 1:30 in the morning, I sat down in front of the camera and I actually did a review last night. But I was so sleep deprived and so angry that I watched the video this morning. I'm like, okay, come on, let's tone it down a notch. And I literally had to redo the video just because I was so savage. So I don't know, maybe a Firestarter review director's cut will come out in the future. I don't know. But yes, guys, that is going to do it for this review. Homebound, another horror film that actually is getting good reviews, that actually looks pretty damn good, comes out today. I will be reviewing that one today, and I will see you guys later on today back on the channel. But yes, let me know what you guys thought about the video down below. Take care, guys. I'll see you in a little bit, and be safe.